going on? It's your man Louie T here with the 4-Minute Offense on the LouieTNetwork.net. So just what are the Raiders doing under Jon Gruden anyway? You've looked at what the Raiders have done this offseason and what they've done in free agency to this point. And we all know Reggie McKenzie doesn't like to spend a ton of money anyway. So it's not a surprise that the Raiders kind of sat back and allowed the market to kind of settle before they went in and started spending money. Now, they went in and spent a ton of money, but on like 87 different players, all low budget, low risk players, a lot of guys who haven't done much of anything in this league to this point, aside from Doug Martin and Jordy Nelson, who were two of the bigger names that they were able to sign. But if you look at the haul of the guys that they got, what are they actually doing under Jon Gruden? Let's take a look at what the Raiders have done thus far in free agency. So we look at the guys they re-signed, Jelly Ellis and Lee Smith. Good to have Jelly Ellis back. You need bodies along the defensive line. He's a nice glue guy. No need in getting rid of someone that has shown you he can play at a solid level. Keep him in the mix. Lee Smith is a guy that is one of the best blocking tight ends in all of football. So with Jon Gruden on the staff now as the head coach, you have the feeling, and looking at a lot of these moves, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Raiders are going to look to run the football in 2018. You look at the arrivals: Tank Carradine, Derek Carrier, Marcus Gilchrist, Doug Martin, Rashawn Melvin, Jordy Nelson, and Keith Smith, Griff Whalen, Tahir Whitehead, and Kyle Wilbur are all the guys that the Raiders went out and signed. Again, not a lot of big names there. Doug Martin, Jordy Nelson, Tahir Whitehead, and Rashawn Melvin are the only names on that list that you should know if you are just an average NFL fan. Now, you may know some of these other names: Marcus Gilchrist, maybe a Derek Carrier. Tank Carradine hasn't done anything since he's gotten into the league. So Keith Smith is a fullback. Who signs fullbacks anymore? It's a dying breed, but again, Jon Gruden made the statement that he's looking to bring the 90s back with this Raiders football team, which could be a little scary because it's a passing league now, and he wants to come in and do it the way he used to do it in Tampa, a.k.a. Bucks ball, where he's looking to line up with a fullback and in a two-back system and run the football and pound it down your throat. And by the looks of this roster, with Derek Carrier and Keith Smith and Doug Martin, and they're bringing back another back in Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, it looks like they're trying to run the ball for sure, and an emphasis is being put on that. I like the Tahir Whitehead signing. Gives them a little bit of speed and a guy that can cover at the linebacker position. Doug Martin, who knows what he has left in the tank. He's not going to be the feature back. It sounds like Marshawn Lynch is still going to be that guy, but nice to have another back behind him in Doug Martin that you trust to hand the rock to. Jordy Nelson, obviously going to be your big play wide receiver, or at least a compliment to Amari Cooper, who you hope gets back to his 2016 form and less like the guy that was dropping the football left and right in 2017. You look at the guys that the Raiders have allowed to walk. David Amerson, we knew he was going to be gone. They cut him loose a lot earlier in free agency or in the offseason. But Danico Autry and TJ Carey are interesting. I thought those two would be back. They seemed like core Raiders and glue guys that should have been back on the roster. They've both signed with other teams. Michael Crabtree was a casualty of the Jordy Nelson signing. And as you see on the screen, Cordero Patterson traded to the New England Patriots. So I'm interested. If you're a Raiders fan, what are the Raiders actually doing under Jon Gruden? What's the direction of this football team? I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. I want to hear what you guys have to say. What are the Raiders doing under Jon Gruden anyway? I'm your man, Louie T. That's 4-Minute Offense. I'll see you next time.
Louie.